everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Star Sitdown. Today, I'm here with a friend of mine, Jamie Thomas, the event coordinator for Black Women's United. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Kim.
Do you good?
I am good.
Okay. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. Have a lot going on with school and BWU, but we move. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy we were able to make it work. I'm glad your dog is okay, because last time we tried to schedule it, something was wrong with your dog. But yeah, how has this semester been for you, doing like a bunch of stuff online?
Honestly, it's kind of in the middle. Like, it's hard because I don't have the face-to-face interaction, but it's easy because I'd rather not get up every day and go to campus because I'm just a naturally lazy person. So I'd rather not. So I can appreciate doing everything in my room and in my house. So it's just like, yeah. But also, it's kind of a lack of motivation, I guess. Because when you were going to campus, they were taking attendance and stuff like that. And so.
So you haven't been showing up to classes, or?
No, I've been in the Zoom and stuff, but it's just not the same, honestly.
It'd be hard to concentrate, because like, I don't know, sometimes I can be like, damn, like I could put it on, but I can also like go cook, or I can have something open another tab. No, I feel that. What work have you been doing with BW? Because I just found out you were the events coordinator. So
Oh, I'm very excited to talk about this. So we have an event coming up in February. It's called the Confidence Showcase. And what that is, it's basically a scholarship pageant. And we have about three guys, three girls come out and compete. You know, they have a talent, they have a questions portion, a formal portion, all of that. And they're both competing we're going to have two winners, a male winner and a female winner for $500. So I'm very excited about that. It's my first big event because I was an event coordinator in high school, but in high school, nothing is really up to you. Stuff is up to you, but teachers always have like the last say. But now, we're all adults, so whatever I say goes. And Tara Lynn made that very clear. And so I'm like very nervous. And so, but yes.
what day is it?
It is going to be February 19th.
February 19th. Is it going to be on Zoom or what?
No, it will be in LBJ. Of course, with all, social distancing requirements and stuff like that.
I'll go. I'll write it down. I'll write it down after this. February 19th.
And if you have anybody that has a talent, please tell them to contact me.
I'm thinking about doing it myself. I'm not going to lie.
That's awesome. Any talent. It doesn't have to be, conventional. It can be anything.
I don't know. I'm thinking about doing stand-up, but I haven't done it. By that time, February, it would have been a year, because last time I did stand-up was before a global pandemic, so it's kind of rough.
But, just practice a little bit. We'll have tryouts. It'll be with me, so if you can make me laugh, you're in.
So you're my in. Like
I'm in charge of this whole thing, so I'm going to hold tryouts, and people are gonna sing, people are gonna dance, and I'm gonna have to be the one that says it's gonna be a no for me. Time in. I'm gonna be the one that has to say that. Or yes. So
you said I'm the boss. No, that's dope. So tell me a bit more about BWU, because I don't know much about the org. Obviously, I know it's an organization built, for Black women, by Black women. And I, last semester, I saw one of the meetings in LBJ. Like, I was on the outside going to a comedy association meeting, and I kind of saw, and that was pretty much the extent of what I know. So if you can just give me a little bit more detail, and then tell me a bit about how you got started as well.
Well, like you said, it's a group of Black women, but a lot of people think it's just for Black women. Anybody can come to a meeting. You can be white, Hispanic, anything. You can be a guy. So we welcome everybody because we talk about everything. We talk about safe ways to deal with alcohol, like at parties and stuff. We talk about relationships. We had a segment a few weeks ago. We were talking about LGBTQ pride and, things like that, and how to be an ally and all this stuff. So we got started. I want to say, I'm not going to say the exact year because I don't know, but it's always been kind of a small organization. And then in the recent years, it's been getting bigger and bigger. But then the pandemic hit. And so this semester, we've been really struggling because, people are not really on campus. People are not in San Marcos. And so it's hard to get the word out, to get people to come to meetings and to participate. So, but I really appreciate them. So.
And have you been holding like meetings like online or still in person?
Well, we do both. So, how LBJ does it, you have to like reserve a room, and then we have an Eventbrite link that pretty much has a cap on how many people can be in the room. And so sometimes, depending on the room we get, it's a cap of like 30, a cap of 60, but usually not that many people even come. And so we also have it on Zoom. So we'll have the computer set up in the room, or if we all together decide, let's not meet in person, let's just do it on Zoom.
And what obviously I can understand like why you joined BWU, but like I want you to can you just go like more in depth and like how and when you got started?
Okay, so I joined. This is actually my first semester on the
Oh, okay.
EBoard. So I was a member last year. I loved it. It felt like a family every time we met. Every Thursday we met. It felt like I was just gonna hang with my sisters for a little while, and so I really loved it. And they were doing interviews for the EBoard because a lot of people graduated last semester, and I was just like, why not? I was dying to be a part of an organization, and I feel like this one is a good fit for me.
And pre-pandemic, what type of like events and socials did you hold before that?
Well, pre-pandemic. What do you mean, like BW or me?
Yeah. No, BWU.
Okay. Well, I know they always have Confidence Showcase. Confidence Showcase is an annual thing. Um, and then we always have, around April, we always have a pool party. And it's also like a social type gathering. We do several events for members, and so those are like paid members. We'll do, different socials. We'll go out somewhere, or I'll think of an event. Well, the event coordinator would think of an event to do with just the paid members.
Okay. That sounds dope. That sounds dope. So the biggest impact that really the pandemic has had is just like really just coordinating and trying to get recruitment and stuff like that. So have you had like a lot of freshmen at least because the freshmen are on campus?
Um, I want to say most of the people that do come to our meetings are freshmen, and I can really appreciate that because when I was a freshman, I was looking for something to do, something to be a part of. And I feel like being Black at Texas State, you need to find your home somewhere. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with, other Black people, but you just need to find your safe space.
Does BWU also work with other Black orgs on campus?
Yes. So Tara Lynn is a part of a group called I want to say, it's like the Black Presidents, the Black Organization Presidents. So it's like basically they all meet together and decide, oh, do y'all want to do a collab, or, what are y'all doing this week? And maybe we can show up to y'all's event, or this is what we're doing this week. We would love for y'all to come. So like the Confidence Showcase, we are collabing with Black Men United. And we do a lot of things with them because they're like our brother organization, kind of. So. And then a few weeks ago we collabed with Women of Gold, and so we're all like one big family because a lot of people are on several different e-boards in all of those organizations.
And another thing I wanted to ask, so you had brought up like as Black students on campus, like finding a home and how important that is. And one thing that the Star is doing is the 11% project, right? Where, it's about how through recent history of Texas State, the population of Black students hasn't really gone up. It's stayed pretty consistent at the 11%, right? You've heard about it?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't heard about the project, but I've heard about 11, like us only being 11% of the population.
Yeah, so one thing that a lot of students have been bringing up lately is about like spaces on campus for Black students and like for Black orgs and the resources that Black orgs get. Now, do you feel like since you have so many experiences, like, and you know a lot about different Black orgs, that they have the resources necessary? Like the university provides like a good amount of resources?
Um, I feel like they provide enough, but it's not enough to us that are Black. It's enough to, you know, them. And so I know, um, like Tara Lynn is really good about this. She has a lot of resources. She'll write them down, and that's actually a meeting that we do, and it's called the Aunties and Uncles on Campus. And so those are like, the counselors that you can go and talk to about anything, and they can handle anything for you, that a white counselor might not, and they might not understand where you're coming from with certain things. And we have a Black Student Research Library. I want to say it's in the Honors College, but I'm actually not sure at all. Um, but yeah, it's like basically a library of all things, related to Black people. So I've been in there. I really enjoy it. It's a library, but it's like not a library, if that makes sense. Like they have board games and they have like a fridge in there and everything. It's really cool. I feel like to answer your question, I think there are resources for Black students on campus, but I wouldn't say it's really catering to every Black student.
And I was gonna ask is because I just recently learned about the multicultural lounge. I didn't know that was on campus. Is that what that is? It sounds familiar, so I just wanted to clarify.
Um, and I don't think it's the same thing. Um, it might be. I don't know the specific term for it. But Tara Lynn always just says it's the Black Student Library or certain Black Student Research Library or something like that.
Okay. And if what would you say that like Texas State University can do to like help orgs like Black Women's United? Like what resources that you might not have like pre-pandemic or even now that you wish would have that would elevate the org even to higher.
I wish that we were a university funded organization. We are not. And so it's kind of maddening because we come together for a good cause, and some people, not to knock down anyone else's organization, but they don't really they're not really out there for the right reasons and not really, you know, talking about things, trying to change things. And so I feel like if we had a lot more funding from the university, that would be a lot better. And so, because everything that we pay for is from members, membership dues, and we want to be able to have membership dues, but expand on that. So,
Do you know about like any other Black orgs that might not have the same funding?
a lot of them don't. I'm not sure. BSA might have funding and ASA, but I'm honestly not sure. I know for a fact a lot of them don't have the funding.
Understood. Understood. Another thing that I wanted to ask you, so obviously we know Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won, right? And it's pretty monumental that we're going to have a Black woman as the vice president. It's very it's very exciting, to a lot of Black people and progressives in general. But obviously, like some people are kind of torn because Kamala Harris was a cop, and like certain things that she said during her campaign, trying to go against Joe Biden and against the Dems, kind of bit her in the end. But I just want to understand like how you feel, because I have some mixed feelings about Kamala Harris. Like it's good, but but yeah, I just want to hear what you had to say.
Okay, so I'll say I'm not really a political person, but I am when it comes to human rights. So I'll get into that conversation when it's about, human rights and the Black community and every community, right? And so I feel like it's great that we now have, the first female Black vice president. A lot of people say, oh, she was a cop, she put Black people in jail. But I also, on the other hand, I'm like, okay, I feel like she didn't just go on the street and just pick them up and say, hey, let's go to jail. They did something, they did something illegal. Now, I don't think it's right that, Black people are not receiving the same consequences as white people. And so I feel like that everybody knows that has been a problem for way longer than Kamala Harris. And so I feel like, yes, maybe, you know, people think, oh, you're Black, so you're supposed to, be for the Black people. But at the end of the day, that's her profession, and that's the law. So I just feel like it's kind of it. I think it just depends on who you get your opinion from, really. So
So you kind of have mixed opinions, like I do.
I do have mixed opinions, but I feel like I'm more not more educated, but just I can reason with it, I guess, because like I said, those people, if they do something illegal, then that's why, if she's a cop. Because, okay, let me back up. Because, okay, so a lot of people have said, oh, Kamala Harris puts Black people in jail. And I don't know if, I know I believe it, but it's just like, she didn't do it for no reason. So it's kind of like she can't not put them in jail because they're Black, because that's not right, you know. So if they do something illegal, they shouldn't expect to, get off because, oh, like, the cop is Black or the judge is Black or the president is Black. So.
I think, sorry, I think part of it was like, at least for me, was when Kamala like was talking about like marijuana. I think it was in one of the debates. Then a couple of days later, she went on the Breakfast Club, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like I smoked weed, and ah, ha, ha, ha." It's
Yeah,
like, hey yo, like,
yeah, like
I,
something's not adding up. But yeah, so I do remember that, and I was just like, girl, come on, like, really? But it's just, I don't know. It's kind of just, I feel like there are not bigger problems, but at the same time there are. Like,
I do. I know what you mean. I mean, a joke I saw on Twitter was like a lot of people aren't voting for Joe Biden; they're voting for Kamala Harris because Joe Biden is old. So that was kind of the running gag. But I don't know. I mean, like in terms of like elected officials and like politics and stuff like that. I mean, it's really all just a game, kind of, because like Kamala in like one of the debates was calling like Joe Biden a racist and like references like his part in the Anita Hill trial, and like next thing you know, like 2 months later, she's saying I would be honored to be Joe Biden's running mate.
and so
Like,
it's just at the end of the day, that's why I'm not really a political person. At the end of the day, they're going to do whatever they have to do to win or to get what they want. So as long as when human rights come into it, um, then I'm for pretty much whatever they have to say. I'm not really, I'm not too keen on, I'm not really up to date with like stuff like that goes on in like the economy and like the environment and stuff. Like I get it, but I'm just it's gonna happen anyway. So it's just like it's a human rights thing for me. That's all I can even say. So that might not make sense, but
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, I had this conversation kind of about with like Gilbert Martinez, a professor at Texas State, on earlier episode of the podcast. It was like, there's so much information. I feel like people are like, I don't have the time to like sift through and try and find the right stuff, because like people will say, that's fake on one side, that's fake on the other side. It's like, am I supposed to like go in and deep dive? It's like, nah, I got a family, I got bills to pay. I got to. It's people don't really have time. But
I wish I did have the time, but it's like I don't know. I'm not gonna say like, oh, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're 100%, the right candidate, because they have done some things, like we're talking about. They have done some things. They have said some things that are just not right or valid. But I feel like they will be the better candidate. So.
Well, how about this? What would you like to see, as a Black woman in America, them change for Black people and Black women going forward? Is there anything?
It's like as a Black person, we've lived with this for a long time, even before me. And so it's like, what can they even change, because I feel like what can be changed, why hasn't it been changed already,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, of course we want justice for all the Black people that have been killed and wrongfully killed by authoritative people. But it's like, you also have the same argument, like, oh, well, Black people are killing Black people. Well, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about authority versus the people, really. And so I want to see that. I want to see LGBTQ rights in play everywhere, immigrant rights, everything. I just feel like human rights. That's it. That's all it is to me, I feel like everybody should have autonomy over their own self. So.
Well, what about on a more like local level, like in the Texas State community? And like you said, like, we're Texas State, like to say, we're a minority majority campus, but Black people are the minority regardless of how we put it. What changes would you like to see like Texas State do for the Black community? Because Denise Trouth put out a message like, Black Lives Matter is like not a question, non-negotiable on this campus, right? Like, I mean, that was pretty insane, coming from the president of the university. So a lot of Black people, or at least people that, the Star has talked to and that I've talked to personally, are like, like, talk is cheap, be about it. So I want to get your perspective on that.
Honestly, I just feel like, as far as change, it's not even that I want a big change, because it's like, I don't want the spotlight to be, oh, we're gonna kiss the Black community's ass now. I don't need that. I just need it to be equal. That's it. I don't know, but we're a long way from that. So like I said, I'm not sure what even would change, because it's been a thing for years and years. And so I don't even want it to, like I said, I don't even want it to be a huge difference. I don't want them to put, Black people on a pedestal, because then for me, that's exactly what I'm trying to stay away from. I just want it to be equal,
No, I agree. I mean, I think like putting us on like a pedestal would be kind of like insulting in a way, because like we just want the same, we don't want no more, no less, but I don't know. In my experience being at Texas State, it is funny because I remember coming into Texas State, a lot of people would joke like, Texas State's HBCU, like, there's so many Black people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people be like, there's so many Black people here. And like I don't know, like day to day, I saw a lot of black people, so I didn't really think that the numbers were that disproportionate, which that really baffled me, But in terms of my experience as a black student on campus, it's like I don't I don't really know. I wish we had more black faculty. That's something that does really bother me, because it's like I literally have not had a black professor yet, and it's been through. Nah, I mean, there was one black PACE counselor, Quan. It was cool, but that shouldn't be it.
Right. So that has been a question that has been raised to the president. They're like, can we get some color in here? And she's just like, there's no funding. And so Tara Lynn is a very big activist on campus. She's
Really?
like the sit-in they did a few years ago um, with the whole, I think his name is like Connor something.
Connor Clegg.
Yes. And that's what our meeting was about 2 days ago, or last week. We were talking about Black history at Texas State. But yeah, she was saying she did the sit-in and they were trying to get him impeached and all that. And so they raised a lot of questions to Denise, and she didn't really say much. Well, she said much, but not in our favor. And so that was kind of like a slap in the face.
What was said?
Well, I think the guy's name is Rudy that wrote like this.
Rudy Martinez.
Yeah, he wrote this section in the newspaper about Connor Clegg, and she was saying it was racist. Like she sent, her mass emails. She was saying it was racist, and we don't stand by that, stuff like that. And then when it came to Connor Clegg, it's all she said was, he's deleted the Instagram post and he apologized. But who did he apologize to?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know a lot about that situation. I've read up on it. I don't wish I was here for it. I don't know. That would have been a lot. So, but my point is, yeah, like I think that's another question. Like a lot of people, like as a part of the student body, not even just black students, but like minority students in general, like where's the line? Because going from that to now, where it's like Black Lives Matter is not like a question on Texas State campus. It's like, oh, like what's
very performative.
You think so?
I think so. Because I don't change my mind that quick. So it's like, how do you go from, telling people they need to leave the LBJ Student Center because they're fighting for their rights pretty much, and now it's, Black Lives Matter isn't a question. Like, you don't have to lie, just be consistent. You can change, but it's just like, it's just not, it's from one extreme to the other. So
wow. I get it. It really is tough. It is tough. This year in general has been very tough. Like mentally, I feel like especially for Black people, going with the pandemic, and now, or not necessarily now, but police brutality, and everyone like trying to defund the police. And has BWU been a part of like the San Marcos protests when those were going on? I know those were kind of in summer, so I don't really know. But
not BWU as an organization, but I think like I wasn't here in the summer.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I went to the ones that have been recently, like in the fall semester, and so I know several members of our EBoard and our brother organizations EBoard. They've showed out. Those who could did. So.
Were you a part of the End SARS protest?
Yes.
How was that?
It was honestly, it was like, I don't know, like I've been to protests and marches before, but it wasn't a lot of us that went to the End SARS protest. I think it was just because a lot of people didn't know what it was. Um, but me and my friend Omo, we actually pretty much led the protest. It was, I forget the girl's name, but she organized it, and she did a great job with all of that. And so she handed Omo a megaphone. Omo was like,
I saw. I saw
"Yeah,
the picture. Yeah, on the we did multimedia did she was on the picture. I was like, what the? It really caught me off guard.
she did awesome though." I loved being a part of it. Walking through, we walked through campus. It was a Saturday, so not a lot of people were out, but that was fine. We walked past. We were in the square. We walked past several shops. Some people were, having disapproving looks, but some people were clapping and, holding up fists and stuff like that. So I think it was great.
And pardon my ignorance. I wanted to ask more about the SARS situation because, as far as I know, that whole situation was about. It was in Nigeria, correct?
Hmm.
It was about like the Nigerian government withholding COVID supplies. Is that what that was?
No. So,
Wait, so I have that and something else mixed up because I heard about that.
right.
But, so okay, I had them mixed up in my head.
So SARS is basically a anti-robbery squad in Nigeria. So that's kind of it's not their police force. It's something more aggravated than that. Basically, they were um, not attacking, but going after kids that they thought, kids that had, designer on or even iPhones. And so they were saying, you're not supposed to have that. Like, what are you doing with that? And so they were killing them essentially. And so they killed, one or two, and that started the protests and the riots and the marches. And with all those came more killings. And so it wasn't like how in America people died at, protests, but it was way bigger numbers in Nigeria, like way bigger numbers. And they had an NSARS movement, I think 4 years ago, because the same thing was happening. And this is a really gross thing that happened. So they disbanded the SARS organization, but they disbanded into the local police forces. And so those people weren't fired. They weren't put in jail. They were just in your local police forces. They were the bad apples. And so it pretty much started up again. And that's pretty much what it is. So, and there was a lot of conferences with the president of I don't know if it's called the president over there, but basically the leader in Nigeria, and not he was not really acknowledging what was going on. He was saying, no, that's not happening, or stuff like that. And so that's what NSARS is. We want to end the whole thing as a whole. So,
Jeez.
yeah,
Yeah, I was way off. Jesus, I look so stupid.
no, you don't.
Um,
A lot of people just don't. They don't cover it on the news here. So,
yeah, the only information I saw was from a bunch of my friends on Twitter with like the hashtag, and I went through it and I looked and yeah, I remember like a video of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I remember a video of it was like some facility and like people were like wanted like COVID relief and like a bunch of sick people and like they were withholding. So that's what I thought it was.
No, that's a part of it, kind of. So you weren't
Okay.
wrong, because I was in the hashtag, but basically, how they sent out $1,200 to Americans for our COVID relief. So they basically had food and water and supplies in these big warehouses that they were withholding from the citizens. So the citizens found these warehouses and they were like, what the heck? And so they, pretty much ran through the whole building because it's stuff they needed. And that's what's being kept from them. So you're not wrong. You're not entirely wrong. But that wasn't, the whole thing. They would
Okay.
have never found it if all the protests didn't start.
Okay. Has anything changed like recently? Like, because that protest in San Marcos was like 2 months ago, right? Or a month
That was
ago.
like a month and a half ago or so. But I'm not sure if any, I don't. Nothing has probably changed, but of course, like most things, media coverage stops. And so if you're not looking for it, it's not on your mind. And so I doubt anything big has changed. Um, I wish it did, but it's kind of like what Denise did. So the leader came back and he was like, "Oh yeah, there's a problem. We need to fix it." So yeah,
I take it you're not too fond of the president of the university.
it's not. I mean, I respect all of the presidents. Like, girl,
Okay. Well, I was gonna say I'm happy we're talking about it now because I bet a lot of people watching or listening or however probably didn't know or knew just about as much as I did. So I'm happy this dialogue is happening now. It's yeah, that's crazy. I mean, kind of like you said earlier about like the media and like keeping up and stuff. I feel like with something like that, it's just like how can we help? Like earlier in the year, everyone was talking about like signing petitions and stuff, and I signed a lot of petitions, but part of me was like, well, what
what
is this
happens
gonna
now?
do? Yeah, yeah, what happens now? It's
Yeah, I think petitions are kind of. I signed everyone I see, like, but it's just what are people going to do with a list of 50,000 names?
yeah,
Like, if they don't want to do anything, they're not going to do anything. And so yeah, it's just I don't think they're lost causes. I think petitions kind of bring awareness to things, and then you can show whatever you're trying to change. You can show them, hey, this is how many people agree with me. So maybe that's what it is. I don't
I don't know either. I mean, especially with like international stuff, like the SARS. Like I signed a petition in Texas
know.
about something going on in Nigeria, and it's like, oh wow, what am I supposed to do with this? Okay, I, I, I mean, I think a great way to go about it is talking about it. I feel like that's awesome, because you're bringing awareness and like you can really start a movement that way.
And
But
that's kind of what it was with Twitter, like, well, all social media really. People were not posting anything, especially in the African community. Like they were organizing something, and I was a part of the organization, and we were about to organize some event, and they're like, no, we're not about to do this. We're about to put out awareness for the SARS movement. So like the whole group chat was deleted and everything, and so we were retweeting and posting and emailing people and trying to email like news broadcasters and stuff like that because it was not covered at all, at least not on, especially not on local news. Maybe on like CNN or something, but not in depth. So I think to help from Texas to Nigeria is just to start the conversation, you know.
no, I completely agree. I agree.
And it's like a lot of I have a lot of friends that are in the African community, and they were telling me it kind of hurts to see like Black Americans not really, for the cause. You know what I'm saying? Because you know the African community that's here, they're for Black Lives Matter. But when I say Black Lives Matter, I mean every Black life. I don't mean just the ones in America, just the ones at Texas State. I mean every Black life all over the world. And so they were feeling like, they're saying Black Lives Matter, but not enough people are saying in SARS. So
I agree. I it's one thing like I've learned a lot during this period, in the pandemic, in the wake of everything happening, and like I've learned about like Black trans women and like the violence that happens against them. Like I'm I'm so caught up like in my own world, in my own, it's like, oh wow, I didn't realize that, abuse and arrest and, the criminalization of sex work and all these different aspects affected a part of the Black community. And like when we say Black Lives Matter, it's just Black men or Black women, and we just forget all these different communities that lie within that. So I completely agree. I'm not a part of like African. I don't. My ancestors are direct descendants of slavery. I don't know. Sadly, it's like I don't know.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So, but I feel like if I did, like, if something was happening in Nigeria or Morocco or Ghana, like, I'm gonna be on that. So I think just as a whole, we kind of got to do better. Sorry, I kind of popped off. That stuff bothers me. It's because like I feel like as Black people, we need to like look out for one another and like empower one another, and like try and get rid of like internalized racism that the system is like bestowed upon us. Like one thing I love that Malcolm X said was like, "Who taught you to hate the color of Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? Like who taught you to hate your lips? Who taught you to want different hair? Like that's all internal. Like that's what they want." So that's another reason why I really wanted you to come on the podcast. Like I was really beating myself up about like, man, I haven't had any Black women on the podcast. And I've said before, like a couple episodes when Carrington Tatum was on the podcast, he brought up Black women, and I was like, Black women are often sometimes like muted, and I feel bad for Black women because they have to deal with racism as well as misogyny. And I was like, well, if I really believe that, why haven't I had any Black women on the podcast? Why haven't I used the platform that I've been granted and given for good? So, I'm really happy that we were able to make this work out, and I guarantee you this won't be the last time. You'll be here. You'll be making me laugh again, and we'll be
I'm open to it. This is fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're almost out of time, but we have some time left. But I want to say thank you, first and foremost, just because, I've learned a lot, and I want to get into a Black org on campus. Previously, like in my freshman year, well, really just like freshman semester and a half, which sucks. I wasn't like too educated about like the Black orgs on campus and like where I would fit in. So that's kind of how I just did like, comedy, and then I came to the Star as opposed to like getting in one specifically. Are you a part of any other Black orgs on campus besides BWU?
I'm a part of BSA, but I'm just a member. I'm not on the EBoard.
Can you speak a bit more about BSA? Because that's one I've been considering about joining because it looks fantastic. So
BSA, it's a bigger organization. I feel like people just know more about BSA and ASA. But I love the EBoard. I love every meeting they put together. Um, like, when I go to BWU meetings, it feels like a family. When I go to BSA meetings, it feels like a family reunion. So it's awesome. I love going to their meetings.
okay, yeah, I want to get involved. There's just one person I know who I think he's on the board. I mean, I could ask you. His name's Noah. Is he a part, or is he just a member?
I'm not sure. I don't recognize that name. Um, I think the EBoard is all women though.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the BSA EBoard is all women, but I'm not sure.
Okay. No.
When we're in the meetings, everybody kind of just sits everywhere, so I can't really tell who's on the EBoard except for who's talking or like leading the meeting. So
How are the meeting? I know you said like earlier, like events, social distance, mask, but I'm still paranoid because we live in Texas, and Texas is not doing a good job, sadly. And yeah, I have asthma, so I just get paranoid. So how have those been?
meetings, well, they are social distance. It's not like a full 6 feet. Like you might be, well, depending on like if you come to a BW meeting, not a lot of people come to those, so it's like you'll be fine. But when we do have big meetings, like when we collab with other orgs, in LBJ they have like tables, like the straight tables. It's usually one to a table. You have to wear your mask. When you come in, they check your temperature, and you get hand sanitizer and all that stuff. And I want to say we kind of trace where you sit. So if someone were to come back and say, hey, I was, you know, positive for the virus or whatever, then it's okay. So if Jamie's sitting here and Kim's sitting here and Jamie said she's positive, then they're going to tell Kim, they're like, hey, you were kind of close, so you might go get tested or something. That it's the same thing they do in classes. Like, I've gotten messages. This is really why I don't go to class lessons in exam. I've gotten messages where it's like, "Hey, you were sitting next to this person and they're positive," and I'm just like,
Yo.
so I end up going. I test negative, but still, it's just too much. Like, I feel like we rushed into this way too fast. But that's why we always have the option for Zoom. So
Yeah, you messed me. You're like, so where do we go? I was like, no. You gonna be at home. We got like we're gonna be online. But nah, okay. I mean, I was looking to do it probably post after, hopefully after all this is over with. But God knows when that's gonna happen. Sadly.
maybe you don't want to sit in a meeting and just see what they talk about. They do have Zoom available, so. And they do. It's not like you're just sitting there. They have, the chat box, and they check it, so you can say whatever you want. So
I will do that. I actually I will do that. I know there's one coming up. I think it has to do with like relationships for BSA.
I'm
Do you
not
know?
sure. They kind of. I'm not gonna say we're repetitive, but people just love to go. So we'll start off talking about relationships, but get into whatever. I don't even know, but
What do you mean? What do you mean whatever?
well, it's just like I think we had a meeting about how to sniff out unhealthy relationships, and then that got into a whole nother category. So we were just like, okay, it wasn't bad. We love when the meetings turn into conversations and not just, okay, how do you feel about this? You answer. So we love when it gets a little carried away, but I don't mind it. So
Is it entertaining?
it is very entertaining. I love to gossip, so.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think you should really consider Zooming in 21.
No, yeah, I'm absolutely down. I'm absolutely, like I said, I've already been looking into it, and like I learned actually like a month ago about like really like the black fraternities and sororities that like we have on campus, and like I think it's like the Divine Nine and like all that stuff, and like because I had no idea, that the whole world was like foreign to me. And when I think of fraternity, I think of like partying, white people, hazing, like.
It's not even.
Nah, I
There
know
are
that's.
parties, but it's not like that.
Yeah, like we read a piece that was in the 19th, and it was about the AKAs and the history of the AKAs and like service and protesting, and I was like, yo, this is dope. Like it's really all about like service, and it's not like social.
Right.
So that's really what I dig. I don't know. Like it's during like all this time where you really can't do anything, so you start to like think about the past when you could do stuff, and I've been thinking about that a lot. So I'm gonna see if I can give it a shot and look at BMU, because I've just learned about BMU too.
Yeah, they're a really great organization to join. They're very similar to BW. It's black men, but like I said, you can join. You can join anything. We're not closing off to anybody, but obviously, as a guy, you might not want to join Black Women United, but Black Men United is very close. So
It's all about unity, right? Like
mhm.
that's why you just want to create that dialogue and have people learn, and yeah, that's dope. That's dope. We are just about out of time, unfortunately. This has been a great episode. I'm really happy. I'm really happy I got a chance to talk to you. Um, yeah, we're all over the radar. I love that. Really, I do. I love that. I like to give people an opportunity at the end of episodes to like plug or shout out anything that's relevant, or like if you want to shout out your event February 19th or anything about the org, and so I'll let you take the floor.
Okay, so Confidence Showcase is February 19th. I am currently looking for contestants. It will be 6 contestants. You're both competing for $500. Well, you're all competing for $500. There will be 2 winners. So, yeah, please. Is there like somewhere I can write something down or like type it in or something? I
I
don't know.
can
I'll
I
just
can I can put it on the screen for you.
Okay, so my email, jct129@texasstate.edu. And then my Twitter and Instagram handle, JamieeChrisTine, Jamie Christine. I just put those because I would like people to DM me or email me if they want to be a contestant. So just don't worry about formal wear. If you don't got nothing to wear, we got you. We're gonna figure something out. If you have a talent, please reach out to me.
There you go. There you go. Jamie Thomas,
Yes.
everybody, not Jamie Taylor, like I thought an hour ago. I don't know where I got that from. It's just because it's T. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
But regardless, thank you again for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate having you and your time, and I really enjoyed
Having
this
me.
episode. Yeah. But all right, that's gonna do it for the Star Sit Down. See you guys next Friday. Peace.